You're listening to the Social Selling Simplified podcast. Stick around if you too are obsessed with learning things that actually work and believe that success leaves clues. We're all about identifying results-producing roadmaps and getting super clear on how to scale and grow your online business. From part-timer to president, social selling expert Ashley Shaw will help you connect the dots and take the guesswork out of what works to grow a social selling empire. It's time to hear from social selling legends, listen in on truthful conversations, and learn the best tips and tricks to reduce the marketing overwhelm so you can build the social selling business of your dreams. If you're ready to go all in, no holding back, and build the business you've always wanted, you're in the right place. Here's your host, educator, social selling guru, and fitness industry OG, Ashley Shaw.
Welcome to Social Selling Simplified. I'm your host, Ashley Shaw, and today's episode is called Your Upline is Full of Shit. Cold messaging will not build a six-figure business. Do this too. This episode is all about demystifying what you might be being told to do to grow your network marketing business and just having a very factual conversation about what is actually going to work if you want to build a six-figure business and what is an oversimplified version that will not work and why. Let's start with the thing that most network marketers are up against, which is the fact that when you first get started in your network marketing business, if you are sharing what you are doing, typically there is a period of maybe a little bit of success. So the reason, of course, that is that you might be sharing with your friends and family, people in your kind of warm market, and you might be seeing some traction from that. So, on one hand, you could say when you're being told, just share your story, that is maybe a proponent of why that works, right? Because you have a warm audience that have never heard of what you're doing before or never heard of you doing it before. So there's a possibility that they might be interested. Now, on the other side of this, of course, there is the possibility too that they might be the hardest people to sell to, because it's not like all of a sudden you've just become an expert overnight in whatever it is that you're promoting. Maybe you're not a health and fitness expert or a beauty expert, a makeup expert, or, a legging expert or whatever. Like all of a sudden you're just selling this product and telling everyone that you have it for sale and, this is your journey and whatever. Like not everyone is going to buy into that fact that you have all of a sudden just become an expert. So once we understand that those are some of the elements that might stand in your way, the other thing that we have to look at is if your true goal is to build a six-figure business, we need to look at the scalability of what most uplines are telling you to do, which is cold messaging people. So I think of this in a couple of different ways. So I used to work in the network marketing industry. I specifically sold knives for a company called Cutco, and I loved the product. I think this is usually how we get into these things, right? Is that we find a product we absolutely love. And, with the price of Cutco, I mean, I was in high school when I started selling knives. There was no way that I could ever afford my own knives at that age and knives of that caliber. So having the ability to become a distributor and, I had to purchase my own kit, all those sort of things, it was definitely the way to go at that point, right? Is to be able to sell the product, get a huge discount, and just talk about what I loved, which is actually what I really think is genius about network marketing. The problem is that when I first got started, it was the old make a list of all the people that you know, and then start reaching out to them. And then after you do your demonstration, which is what we called it, then ask the people that, you're at their house to make a list of people that you could reach out to and do the demonstration for too. And what ends up happening, and obviously if we look at network marketing as it is today with social media, it's similar but different in the sense that you start out with a warm audience and then you are relying on other people or another tool to try to grow your business. So you all of a sudden have no control over the people that you need to get in front of. And that's where, a lot of people burn out because you need to get in front of more people in order for this business to grow. So when I think of that example and I think of having to use referrals to grow the business, or I think of the example of being a network marketer who has to use social media to grow my business, where I'm going to put my message out there. It's going to start with a warm audience, but then I'm going to have to do something different like cold message. When you think about the scalability of this, which scalability is just the ability to actually grow a business, it's like thinking about if you were going to scale a business and have to go door to door, which is when you cold message, that's what you're doing. You're essentially having to go door to door, and you don't really have a great way to filter through those people very quickly or very effectively. It's like a copy and paste of those messages over and over and over again. And it would be also, if I think back, there was this show I used to watch, and I think it was actually a Spanish show, and it was about these call girls. And I mean, the old telephone operators. And, if you think of that example in your head, they're getting on one call and then unplugging from the switchboard and plugging into the next call, and then the next call and the next call. Again, that is the same analogy for what cold messaging is. Like, there's no way, the only way to do more of it is to go faster, right? Or I also think of the idea of you were trying to build a business in a fish tank. Like, there's only so much water and so many fish in that tank versus trying to build a business in an ocean where it's unlimited potential.
Hey, network marketers, did you know that I taught a free workshop on September 19th that explains how to stop relying on posts and DMs to find customers? It's called Your Upline is Full of Shit. Cold messaging won't build a six-figure business. Do this too. So in it, I explain why posting isn't paying you, why you're burnt out from sharing your story, and the super simple system to start using this instead. Now, the problem with relying on friends and family to grow your business is that it works at first, so you really don't realize that after that pond dries up, your upline and even your company haven't really given you the tools to tap into the ocean of customers looking specifically for you. The replay of my workshop is only available for a few more days, so make sure that you catch it now. Go to ashleyshaw.ca/six-figure growth workshop, and that is the number 6. It's not complicated, it doesn't require tech knowledge, and it works really fast. It's what successful network marketers and online business owners are using, and I'm teaching it to you for free. So go to ashleyshaw.ca/6, as in the number 6, figure growth workshop. We'll see you in there.
So all of those things together, if you think about all of those examples and you think about all of those scenarios, it really becomes limited if cold messaging or just trying to rely on your warm market to give you referrals is how you're going to build a business. You really need to be able to plug into something else if you want a surefire way to build a six-figure business. This is where I want to move into. There are 3 steps that really took my business from this is me just trying to cold message a bunch of people and try to grow my business that way with no control to how I actually turned it around. And what's interesting about this story is that in the first 3 years that I started my business, I really went from zero income to about $10,000 a month, sort of inconsistently. And so it took me a really long time to get to $10,000 a month. And then within that next year, it took me 1 year to go from $10,000 to $100,000 per month, which is obviously a huge difference in impact. And it was because I was able to plug in to this formula that made all of the difference. So I'm going to explain what this formula is. So I call it the six-figure growth method. And I'm actually going to be doing a workshop on this. It's this week that the workshop will have already released, but you can still definitely
get a copy of the workshop, it'll be available this week only. So definitely make sure that you go to the show notes to check it out. And so basically, the growth formula that we want to think about here is at the top of the formula is your social posts. The next layer down is a lead magnet, and the layer down from that is emails, and that ultimately leads to customers. Now, let me explain these three pieces of the puzzle. When you're first getting started, social media it's definitely going to be a part of how you're growing, and it's an organic strategy. So what that means is that you are relying on your posts to be seen by other people, but you're probably not promoting them or, using advertising when you're first getting started, right? But you want to build a system that you could start advertising. That's where I saw a lot of scale, was after I was able to get this system in place that allowed me to turn my ads on and know that I was going to make money with them. So the first step is your social media posts and really making sure that you're creating great content that actually gets seen and actually has great reach. And so there's a big difference between creating social media to just posting to post and just sharing your story versus actually understanding the psychology behind what a post needs to look like and what the actual job of social media is. So when you're putting things out on social media, there's a couple of key components you want to think about. In that post, there is a hook, which is the top line of your social media post, the thing that hooks people in. It usually too, if you're doing a reel or something like that, there's going to be text over top somewhere on that image. That's also your hook, right? It could be different than the hook in the post, or it could be the same. Either way, the point and the purpose of it is to get someone to read more. So once you have that idea, like that line has to be good, or it will not effectively get someone's attention. I'm going to be covering all this in the workshop, what the different types of hooks are, because there's quite a few. I think there's 11 or 12 at least that you can be using. So I'll cover that in the workshop, but you want to have a really good hook. And then there's also different content themes you can post around. And there's about 6 of those. Everything from entertainment to educational, like these are all different types of content ideas. Again, I'll cover that in the workshop. So you want to make sure that you're matching up these ad blocks, and then you're going to have a call to action. How you're using social media here is you're actually putting things out with the purpose of testing to see what your audience responds to. And this method of using social media is really important because once you start to see what is working, then you can start replicating those things that are working and doing more of it. And using this method, I've had about 3 or 4 posts go viral. And I would consider viral when you look at your account, anything that's more views, like 2 times the views. So if you had, for example, let's say 1,000 followers, anything that got 2,000 views, I would say is viral for your account because it's gone beyond just your followers. You want to be testing and repurposing things that are working over and over again so that when you do become interested in advertising, you have a whole bank of things that work and that have gone viral. So it's a much better idea to be able to boost and post those things. So you want to be utilizing social media not as the way to have your whole sale try to happen there. You want to use it as a platform to be testing what's working and then also pushing people towards a lead magnet, which is going to bring us to step 2. And by the way, this formula that I'm teaching you is something that if you look at any successful influencer, go have a look at Shailene Johnson. She will drive you from her social media post to a lead magnet and from a lead magnet to her email list. This isn't something I'm just making up. It's just something that I saw the biggest impact with from my business. And then I noticed how many other people, this is just what everyone does if you are a successful influencer in the online marketing space. The next step here is to drive people to a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is a free piece of content that is going to help build authority and trust and value and prove to people why they should really listen to you. It's going to be very helpful in helping them get some really quick aha moments and quick wins. And ultimately, you're going to collect an email address for them to be downloading that lead magnet. And so this moves them from just being an innocent bystander in social media, because social media, like, there's not a great chance for you to have multiple connection points with somebody. Like, they're only going to see your audience only sees about 1% to 2% of what you put out there. So this enables you to make sure every time you have a message to communicate after you have got someone on your email list, they're actually going to see that message. So that lead magnet is really, really important, not only for the trust and authority factor, but also for the fact that it helps you get that person on your email list. Okay. Now we're going to move into step number 3 here. Once you have them on your email list, the job of the email list is to help convert them into, basically, you're nurturing this person and they will eventually become a customer. So email is so powerful. Like, I remember 2 years ago, the first year that we had our first 7-figure year, I had 26,000 people on my email list, which took time, of course, right? But when I would send an email, I would be able to have $26,000 in sales from a couple of emails. So the number of people on my list was directly correlating to the amount of money that I could make from sending a few emails. So you think about that, right? There's just no comparison with social media. When you put a post out there, do you see any sales from it? Not usually, right? Email just works in a completely different way that you can nurture people consistently. They're going to see that message. It directly has higher ROI than anything else. Starting an email list is definitely an important component of building a 6-figure business. When you do build your email list, you're going to be consistently emailing your list. Maybe it starts once every other week or, builds up to that. But ultimately, when somebody gets an email, you know it's going in their inbox, and there's usually a 20 to 30% open rate on those emails. So you go from like a really small chance that someone's going to see your post on social, which is 1% to 2%, and you move to this 20 to 30% chance that they're going to see your message. That's one of the reasons why there's so much higher return on collecting an email versus just posting on social media. Once you can start to get actually in front of your audience and get in front of them consistently, then you can start communicating with them, because that's what all marketing really is being able to have an ongoing conversation with somebody, provide aha moments, and get them to see why this product that you have or your solution, your unique mechanism, might be the solution to one of the problems that they are facing. And when you start to plug into utilizing social media in that way, using a lead magnet in that sense, and then also using email to move people along the customer value journey, that's when you have something really scalable. And then the cherry on top is being able to add ads to this process. And all of a sudden you can get in front of way more people, but you have a path that you're leading them down versus cold messaging people, which again, it's like going door to door, or trying to build a business where there's no ability to, if you're going to increase sales, you have to talk to more people in one day. And when you start adding ads into that equation, that's what you're doing. You're able to add talking to and seeing many more people in one day, which is the biggest difference between being able to scale a business or not scale a business. So if this is something that is missing from your business, then you definitely want to check out the Authentic Marketing Funnel. So this is actually where this membership was really derived from, is understanding what it takes to actually build a 6-figure business, and then providing network marketers with these monthly deliverables that include your social media posts, your lead magnet, your emails, so that you wouldn't have to come up with all of this content yourself. And every month in the Authentic Marketing Funnel, we have various themes that we're weaving in. We also provide a content bank, and it has several different types of lead magnets, whether you're in, the wellness industry, the fitness industry, the nutrition industry. We help all of those types of network marketers with the types of content that we create. So they're applicable to all those types of businesses. So that's really where the Authentic Marketing Funnel came from, was knowing what needed to happen and what was going to help network marketers actually scale their business, and then being able to back it up and actually provide the tools to be able to do it. So I really hope that this episode today was helpful, helped, click in some pieces for you, help make the puzzle of the online world just a little bit more clear with what you need to be doing and how to do it. And, if you want more guidance on this, definitely check out the workshop. Again, we'll make sure it's linked in the show notes so that you can check that out. And make sure to ask any questions that you have, because I'd be very, very happy to help answer any questions that you might have that are outstanding. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Social Selling Simplified.
Thanks for taking the time to level up today. If you're ready to commit to personal and professional growth, move forward, make money, and grow your health and fitness business, head to my free community on Facebook, Business Bootcamp for Fitness Coaches, so I can support you every step along the way. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you right back here next week on Social Selling Simplified.